In this video, I'm going to discuss about the cheapest growth promoter you can use for your broilers, and you don't need to add anything, you don't need to buy anything, it's just feed. I'm also going to give a very important tips of how this growth promoter work. It's very cost effective. I will explain how to prepare it. I will explain the steps that you need to follow and how to know if it's good at the end of the day for your broilers or it is bad. These are very important tips you don't want to miss. And I will also give an extra tips on the process and things to avoid. All you just have to do is watch till the end. What's up my people, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please, if this is your first time of coming across my video, kindly help me to grow my channel by clicking the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so that you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and drop your questions in the comment section and I will respond to them. The cheapest way most farmers ignore that can make your broiler grow fast and rapidly is use of fermented feed. This fermented feed is the cheapest and most effective growth promoters, but a lot of farmers ignore it. The cheapest effective growth promoters for broilers are usually the natural or feed-based options. This is far more better than the expensive synthetic additives, and on the other hand, they have no withdrawal period, and also they have no side effect in humans when consumed. And it is the low cost growth promoter choice that you can trust. This growth promoter is known as fermented feed, and let me explain how it works for you. It improves digestibility and it adds probiotics and enhances the nutrient absorption. The ingredients that you need for this fermented feed is just the feed, which is the normal feed you are giving to your broilers, and water. Now, you may add some kind of additive, maybe yeast or probiotics or sugar or molasses, but if you don't have any of these, there is no problem, you will still get the needed results. Another thing that you should note concerning this fermented feed is that it's very cheap, and you are just using your existing feed and maybe a small culture, which is the sugar or molasses or the baker's yeast or probiotics. That is just what you just need to do your fermented feed. And another very important point is that this fermented feed, when you feed it to your birds, they consume far lesser feed than the normal feed you are giving to them. This is a very important point that I want you to take note. For instance, if your broilers are consuming say 20 kg of feed, by the time you give them fermented feed, they will consume far less than that, maybe 15 kg. That is what they will consume, and you've ended up saving 10 kg of feed. I will give you a step-by-step guide on how to use this fermented feed as a cheap and effective growth promoter for broilers. The essence of giving this fermented feed and how it helps to improve the growth of your broilers rapidly is that it increases the nutrient absorption by breaking down hard to digest components. Then secondly, it introduces the kind of beneficial probiotics that improve gut health. The gut health of your broiler is very important. Then thirdly, it reduces harmful bacteria in the intestine. And the fourth one is that it improves feed conversion ratio, meaning that there will be faster weight gain with less feed, which I have explained earlier. So now, how do we prepare the fermented feed? The ingredient that you need is just your regular broiler feed. This could be starter, grower or finisher, whichever. Then you don't need to change feed because the feed you are using can be used for this fermentation. Then you also need clean water, and you also need a container that you will use to process the feed fermentation. Then a third thing that you need, which this is optional, so you can choose to use it or not. For instance, you can add a small culture, maybe sugar or baker's yeast or molasses. The essence of all this is to speed up the fermentation process. Then you also need a bucket, like I said earlier, that has a cover or a lid. Now what you do is that before you start fermenting the feed, you should know the quantity of feed that your birds will consume within 12 to 24 hours. So this is the feed you are going to give to them, because you don't need the fermented feed to stay till the next day, to exceed 24 hours, because it's going to increase bacterial growth. Now when you measure the quantity of feed, you mix the feed with clean water in a ratio of about 1 part to 1.2 to 1.5 parts of water. Now when you put the feed inside the water, you now add your water, you stir, make sure that the feed soaked the water. Then later on you add more water again. The water should be above the feed a little. Then the mixture should be wet like porridge, and it should not be watery. So in that, after that, you cannot add your starter, which is optional like I said. But if you don't have the starter, just leave it like that. Then you have to cover it and allow it to ferment. You cover the container loosely to get so that there will be a little gas escape, and leave it at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours. At interval, you can be stirring it 1 to 2 times a day so that it will prevent spoilage. Then how do you know that if the feed is good for you? You check for the smell. Once the fermentation process is done, the feed smells slightly sour, like bread, dough, or yogurt. That is how it smells. But if it smells rotten or moldy, please throw it away. It is not good for your birds. Now how do you feed this fermented feed to your birds? You feed to your birds once or twice daily. So you start by replacing 25 to 30% of the normal dry feed with fermented feed for 2 to 3 days. This is to enable the birds to adjust to this new feed that you are going to give to them. And gradually you now increase this to 100% fermented feed, and that's all depends on you. Now a very important point is that you should remove any leftover of the fermented feed after 3 hours to avoid spoilage in the feeder, because by the time they are unable to consume this feed, it is wet and bacteria or mold will grow on it, which is not good for your broilers. So by the time you do this, you discover that you are not only reducing feed, you are also saving cost, because the normal 20 kg that your birds will consume will be reduced, because as you soak this feed, it has expanded, thereby increasing in quantity and quality. Now let me give a very important tips at this point, which you don't want to miss. But before I give it, please help me to grow my channel by subscribing, click the bell icon, give this video a like, comment and share for others to benefit. The bonus point I have for you here is that you should ferment only what your birds can eat in 1 day. Then secondly, you should use plastic buckets or food graded containers. On no account should you use metal, because the fermentation acid can corrode this metal, so it is not ideal to use metal buckets. Then you should combine with good water, proper brooding and adequate light for best result. So you don't just say because you are using a fermented feed, then you not do every other thing in an abnormal way. No, everything has to be in their right places. I believe you've gotten tangible information from this video. Help me to grow my channel by clicking the subscribe button, turn on the bell icon, give this video a like, comment and share for others to benefit. Thanks.